The power of self-image and how that relates to sales. That's what we're going to be diving into today with my dear, dear friend, Tanya Pluckrose. I'm so excited that you are here, my love. Tanya and I have gone through so many amazing experiences together, one being a very intensive leadership experience. And I'm really thrilled to bring her on here because we know each other inside and out. And one thing I love about Tanya is that she is so committed to her work, and she's actually Bob Proctor certified as a coach, and she's very in tune with the power of self-image. And if you're tuning into my channel here, my name is Jen Johnson, and if this is the first time you're here, this channel is dedicated to helping you create star quality performance in everything that you do in your business, in your life, like everything connects together. And I'm just committed to helping you, take center stage in your life, elevate in every way possible so that you could start to create the results you want to create in your business through selling. Because really, we can talk best practices, Tanya, right? We can talk best practices, tips and hacks, all this surface level stuff, which can be helpful, but we also got to get to the root of the problem. And one of those things is self-image. And I know you love sharing and shedding light on this. So why don't you just tell people a little bit about you, your background, and you can give us some amazing insights today around this.
Sure. So my background has always been in customer service. And it was only when we did our leadership program that I discovered that I didn't want to do customer service anymore. At the same time as my marriage was failing, and guess what? My business as well was failing. Everything was falling apart. And it was at that time that I left my husband and I ended up living in a woman's home and going, how did I get here? How did I get here? After I'd left Australia, working for a world-renowned airline called Qantas Airlines. I had my own home. I had climbed the ladder of success and was the lead flight attendant on their A380 running the show. And I suddenly ended up homeless again. Like, what the? And it was only at that time that I came across Bob Proctor's works, and I attended a paradigm shift for 3 days. And I remember listening to every word he was saying and saying, that's me. That makes sense. What was that? Could you repeat that again? What? And then it dawned on me that my current results, that is the loss, was due to my past and present thinking. And if I was going to change my future results, I had to change my thinking. And the one thing I had to go and look at was my self-image, my opinion of myself. And I didn't realize that my opinion of myself didn't really belong to me. It had been passed down to me genetically and environmentally, from my mother, from my father, and from my environment. And in fact, I discovered that I'm actually perfect. My spiritual DNA is perfect. It requires no modification. But I have mental junk on top of it. And I kept telling myself that I wasn't good enough and that I didn't deserve and I wasn't worthy. And this opinion was holding me hostage from living an extraordinary life that included much wealth, success, and happiness. And I started to work on my self-image, and this has been a game changer. But little did I know that your self-image really is an opinion about yourself that's formed at a very early age about what you are capable of, who you are, and what you are worth. And so I realized if I wanted to earn more money selling my products and services, I had to convince myself first that I was worth it. And that's your self-image, your opinion about yourself. Because we're all in sales, remember. Now, some people say, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are.
Telling someone something today.
You're either selling an idea to your loved one right now about what you're going to eat for dinner later. Mm-hmm. You are always selling an idea to your kids of when they're going to eat lunch, what they're going to wear, when they're going to bed. All of us are in the wonderful world of salesmanship. And I don't know if your audience is aware, but it's really It's the highest paid profession in the world.
Yeah.
It's a mental game that's changing the world. And so if you want to out earn, as I say, a doctor, a lawyer, and a dentist, if you want to out earn any of these, and all of you, I know your audiences are entrepreneurs, then you're going to have to change the way you think and feel about yourself and selling. And so this is what I love, is that when you change your self-image and feel differently about yourself, you feel more comfortable then, right?
Yeah.
Asking for the money, because you've caught up with you. You actually have caught up with you, with what you have to offer is priceless. It's priceless. And so when you're having these beautiful sales conversations with people, you, of course, they're easy and effortless because you have a deep knowing here that you are worth it. And so this is what salesmanship is all about. This is the mindset work that people often fail to do. Many entrepreneurs, coaches, they're out there buying another strategy on how to learn how to sell. But I say, enough now. Enough now. Go within and convince yourself that you are worth it, right? For starters, and start to, you don't actually have to do the outer so much. I say, get the subconscious mind to be there to support you, to help you have those conversations. How? You give new ideas about who you are. And once you auto suggest them in, automatically you show up more confident, you believe in what you're doing, and that you're on a mission to make a big impact in this world.
Beautiful. Now, one thing I want to address is that in the beginning, you talked about how things were falling apart. What was the pivotal awareness around that? Because sometimes people think things are falling apart, but they're doing everything they can to hold on to it and thinking, oh, I can't let this fall apart because falling apart is scary. But falling apart is so necessary for the transformation. And how did you step out of that resistance and just allow what wasn't really aligning with your heart, with your soul, to just fall apart and be okay with that?
Well, with every breakdown, there's a breakthrough. So You're right, Jen. So I think I always realized that it was, all of us come to a place of surrender where you have tried everything. And if only you would sit in the place of surrender and go, I can't do this. For me, it was let go and let God.
Yeah.
I had to really get on my hands and knees and say, God, your will, not mine. My will is not working anymore. And it was only when I sat in the mess that the message came. Bob Proctor appeared out of nowhere. But we have to be, I think it takes humility, real humility, to say, this isn't working for me anymore. There's got to be another way. And that for me was the pivotal point when I surrendered to a power greater than myself. And then, of course, as I say, the gates of heaven opened up and the answers all started to flood in, but I couldn't see them while it was my will. I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to do this one more time. So I think you really have to be very conscious of where your efforts are not paying up. There is a difference between persistence and when you say, enough now, I need help. And there's no better place to go than upstairs, as I say, or within.
Absolutely. And, there's so many amazing books out there, Think and Grow Rich, and, just all these kind of law of attraction type things, which I know, my audience is a Christian audience, and we're big in the faith. And it's really another powerful thing that I've been working through is motive. And I was actually reading Ecclesiastes this morning, and it's all around like, Solomon, had he had everything, like the riches and the houses and the this and the that, and like nothing was fulfilling. And one thing was like, it mentions, checking your motives. Like, why do you want all of these things? Like, what is it furthering God's kingdom, or is it just for self-satisfaction? Are you not practicing your contentment and trying to get and not being in gratitude for what you already have? So have you had experience with really understanding that it's not the outside things that are going to create the happiness? It is going within and really identifying who you are in God's image and allowing those blessings to come, but they don't define you.
Absolutely. And what I've discovered is that it's like winning lotto when you have that deep feeling of fulfillment. There is no car, there's no home, there is no lover, there is no one that can beat when you are filled doing the fulfillment you feel when you're doing God's work. I mean, it's priceless. It's priceless. And of course, the trimmings are all the little things, the extras that you can have. Yeah. But I think you've always got to go back to the feeling of fulfillment when you're helping someone get unstuck. And then they start to have a transformation because they spend time with you. There's no better feeling than that. And so when you are motivated by that feeling, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong because you're inundated with clients, right? I always say, always check the energy you're leading with. Yeah. Is it getting energy or is it giving energy? Now, when you are doing giving energy, right, guess what? You are in total trust that God is the source of your supply, that you are only here to help this person. But that takes practice because we have what I call our money paradigm. Our paradigm is a multitude of ideas or habits that will control over us consciously or subconsciously every single day. And so that has been the work for me, is to trust that I don't need to worry where the money's going to come from as long as I am doing God's work, right?
Yes.
Remember, the money comes as a byproduct of you doing God's work, right? You're doing God's work. Money comes through you. It's not from that person. You've got to understand money is God in action. Money is God in action. And so this is where it all comes into salesmanship and selling. Selling is a very spiritual outing between not just one person or two. There's three of you. And I'm going to tell you, it's the chord of three strings. And it actually, I get the shivers when I know I'm speaking God. I know God's talking to me because I get the shivers and I want to cry because I know I'm talking God. God is clapping for me because I'm saying it's like if you can remember that every time you have a sales call, that you are doing, it's a spiritual outing, and we're allowing infinite intelligence to step in because both of you are seeking each other. What you are seeking is seeking you. So you've always got to remember that. That's why selling, it's not selling, it's service. That's how I see it.
Yes. And I know Tanya and I have had so many talks around money. I've shared, on this channel, I used to have crazy money blocks, and I'm constantly working through. I don't think our work's ever done with whatever our blocks are. We're always creating more and more awareness. And, I think that goes back to one of my big things is not so much having a results-based goal, having a growth goal or having a goal that you can actually control the action you're taking. Like, it's good to have a vision for how much money you want to make in a year, but ultimately having that isn't going to create the results. So do you have like a way that you look at creating action-based goals versus that results-based goal?
Well, I've changed my perception around goals. And for me, a goal is not about getting it. A goal is for my expansion and growth.
Right.
That's how I look at goals now. And it's for me to unlock my talents, step into my greatness, and realize my potential. And that's how I look at goals now, in the sense, like, if I know that my spiritual DNA is perfect, then it means that what others have done, I can do as well. And it's not about the getting, it's proving to me my magnificence, like letting go of the mental junk about it. So with goals, remember, we are goal-seeking machines, believe it or not. And it's written, I was reading my book this morning on psychocybernetics, which is all about the self-image, everything about the self-image. And as he says, that we are programmed for success. We're programmed for success. We cannot help but be goal-orientated machines, right? It's in us. And that's why when someone retires at 65 and says, I'm retiring, I'm offering saying, now, well, what are you doing next? And they're like, oh, I've worked for 35 years. I'm having a break. I'm like, that's the worst thing you could do. You can only play so many rounds of golf. And then what? Right? Because we're here to make a difference. And I've learned that from my mentor, Bob Proctor, who's going to be 87 next year. And he said, I'm just getting started. He said, retirement? What's that? He says, I still don't even know myself. Why would I retire when I'm just realizing my potential and what I'm up to and the impact I'm making? So that's my take on goals.
Yeah, I love it. And so what would you say, because I know our brains love to go, well, how do I do this? How do I practice, looking at myself differently or having a different self-image? Like, what would you say have been some of the most helpful things for you to really shift and create a strong self-image of yourself?
Well, the first thing I think you need to do is get very clear with a goal worthy of your life and the impact you want to make. Okay. And then when you've got clear with that goal, you don't know how you're going to get there. In fact, it's none of your business. But once you've got clear with this impact you want to make, right? Then I say, go and create a self-image, a new version of yourself with all the characteristics of how you would be carrying yourself, your attitude towards people, places, and things, where you would be living, who you would be serving, the sort of people, where you would be traveling, what would you be doing with the money that's coming in to support people around the world who are less fortunate. So once you write out this image of you, the being of it, this is me, I'm being it, then I say, live from the end that you are already that person. So all day, every day, you are constantly making decisions from that. You're spending time with that new version of you. And then, of course, the magic starts to happen where the people, the places, the plots, the opportunities all start to come. Because remember, when you tap into your higher faculties, which is one is imagination with your will, you suddenly are on another frequency of thinking. You're no longer on this competitive plane. You've moved up to the creative plane. And up here, it's a very different world. And this is where everything starts to fall into place. And this is why you don't worry about the how. The how comes to you.
Yes. How, I always say, how is God's job? How is, we're not meant to do the how, we're meant to create, and in the beginning, God created. He didn't say how, he just created, and we're created in his image, and therefore we create. So I just love it. And I love that exercise because it's very tangible and you could go down to like, when does my highest self wake up in the morning? What time? What does my highest self wear? I just recently cleaned out my closet, and it's like, if it wasn't like the highest for me, and there were some things I'm like, oh yeah, I could still wear it. Nope. Like, it gets to be your highest, like everything. So really take this exercise, run with it. And be sure to connect with Tanya. She has an amazing community. The name of your community is
Right Thinking Rich Results.
Right Thinking Rich Results.
That's my Facebook group, Right Thinking Rich Results.
Yeah.
And I'm on LinkedIn. I make posts every single day. I just love giving ideas, value to make people really think differently, so you get different results.
It's so true. You know, we get to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, but that just takes rumination, daily, like getting in and recreating new ideas, new thoughts to create this beautiful self-image of who you truly and authentically are. So Tanya, thank you so much for joining us on this channel. As always, guys, you can always hop into the Online Performance Club where we hang out in there as well inside of my community. And as always, keep the faith, impact the world. God bless, and we will see you soon.
Bye.